Why not? So we'll go from one side to the other. Councilmember Dong,
Present.
Councilmember Winders,
Present.
Chair Ituri,
Here.
Councilmember Reyes,
Present.
sorry, Councilmember Allen, present, and I'm so sorry, Councilmember Norman.
Present.
Fantastic. I
All
think
right, thank you so much. So this is a hybrid meeting. I apologize in advance for any tech issues. We've already encountered some, but we really want to make this as accessible to as possible to everyone out there. We broadcast on Facebook and Sonoma TV as well. We always want to thank our support team, Sonoma TV, Lynn Marie, SVUSD for the facility. We have our interpreters, Maya Fonseca and Martin Del Campo. And then I also want to thank Zaira and Ariel for being here from Supervisor Gorin's office, and then as well Supervisor Gorin for her support in this council. So we are off to the approval of the minutes from the March 13th meeting. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Councilmember Dong, and is there a second?
Second.
Councilmember Winders, all in favor?
I
Aye. Beautiful. Thank you so much. This will take public comment. Now, this is public comment for items not on the agenda. So if there's public comment for items not on the agenda, we'll do 3-minute public comment. Please state your name when you go to the podium. And thank you so much. I'm gonna go.
Hi, good evening. My name is Hannah Perrott, and there's 3 things I'd like to say today. First is that the missing grate at Comstock and Boys has been replaced. So yeah, thank you to Supervisor Gorin, TPW, the county for making that happen. Second, I noticed that there are flashing crosswalk signs that recently have been installed on Broadway, which is Highway 12. We could use some of those in the springs, maybe 2, just like they have. In the past, we've been told that we can't have flashing crosswalks if the flashing is on the roadway. This is flashing on the sign. So there should be no reason we can't have those. The third is I'd just like to reiterate that the MAC and the county should really address the conditions at the county-owned parking lot by the post office building at 22 Boys Boulevard. It'd be great to see something like an ad hoc formed on the MAC. And I'd like to see an action plan put forth by the county. This is county-owned land, and it just shouldn't be an eyesore or a source of blight and nuisance. I'd also like to point out that the building, which is currently owned by the Matsons, has limited use due to the lack of parking. If the county could purchase the building and turn it into either a community center or incorporate it into the plaza, that would be a great use. That would benefit everyone. And the sooner we get this property used for good things, the less dumping and antisocial behavior we'll see there. Thank you.
Thank you, Hannah.
Hi, my name is Lisa Stormont. I'm the president of Wake Up Sonoma, and I live in the neighborhood. I'd also like to address the issue of the post office and the county parking lot. At a meeting that myself and Veronica Annapolis had with Susan Gorin a few weeks ago, we discussed the following possible solutions, and we want to thank Susan Gorin for meeting with us and being very proactive in the meeting. So what we talked about were some immediate solutions. Susan will ask for stepped up patrolling of the area. It looks as though that has and is happening. Susan will hold a community meeting to talk about a plaza and gathering place, as well as the mechanism to keep the area cleaned up. The Latinx community would also be included in that meeting. And that postings will be displayed to prohibit loitering and public urination. And I'm not sure where we are with that. Maybe Susan can address that. Possible longer term solutions that we discussed was, as Hannah also alluded to, purchase the building as a community center. I propose we do that and deal with the infrastructure needs through grants and donors, as well as county support. The opportunity to do so may be presenting itself now with the current Matson financial troubles. She also talked about an enhanced infrastructure financing district possibility using a designated percentage of property taxes. And what that might require would be, first, a resolution of intent from a district to use a projection of property taxes over 35 to 45-year period of time. A nonprofit would have to be in place to oversee and manage those finances, and appoint 3 supervisors and 2 Springs public members to the district. And we talked about creating a cultural arts and community services district. Finally, let's be clear that the intent here is not to target any particular group of people to be negatively impacted, but I feel strongly also that a small group of bad actors in this area, which is my neighborhood, should not be allowed to really disrupt the surrounding community and put them at risk. The community here wants a resolution that will be good for everyone. And in particular, the businesses that are being impacted in a very negative way are asking for our help because they don't feel empowered to do anything themselves. We need to heed that request while respecting the rights of all involved. With rights come responsibilities. Both are required to make a community function in a free and fair way. With that said, we respectfully request that this issue be put on the MAC agenda. And I like Hannah's suggestion of this being an ad hoc committee as soon as possible so we can have a thorough review of this issue and the best way to move forward.
Thank you so much.
Good evening. My name is Rachel Guinness. I also live in the Springs. And I live on Gregor Street, actually, right across from the Luz Community Center, which is just such a wonderful resource to the community. I'm such a happy neighbor of La Luz. And I just wanted to bring attention, you guys might know, that Gregor is used as a cut through from Highway 12 to Boys Boulevard. And La Luz has so many community events. They have classes, they have health trucks, they have libraries, they have events, they have all kinds of things going on there that attract families, pets, children, friends and family. And that street is like a raceway for cars going through. So I would like to propose that speed bumps be put on that street to help mitigate traffic. I can tell you that my neighbor just, to the other side, on the same side of the road as Luz, has literally had their fence taken out, not once, but twice by possibly inebriated drivers, people driving too fast and losing control around that turn. So I just think it's a real threat to health and safety. And I also want to just, throw my hat in with the whole idea of creating more of a park area. The Springs is a wonderful, wonderful community. And just in that area, around the parking lot you guys were talking about, it's just a very social area. So to help slow down traffic on this street with, not only single family homes, but this wonderful community center, I think would be a real boon for the community. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Hey, Josette Bros Iker. At the last meeting, several of us talked about issues affecting the Springs community at the post office building and parking lot site at Boys and 12. I will not repeat everything presented. So today I would once again please ask that this be placed on the agenda and possibly an ad hoc formed so that we move forward with ideas and action. There are many short and long-term ideas that have been presented and discussed in the short term. I believe if we have activity and use of the area, it will benefit the community and also be near locally owned businesses. With use, it will not be attractive to those that have been dumping trash, vandalizing, or using the area for unlawful activity. There was a presentation by Home First at the last city council meeting. This group working for the county can address helping the unhoused who may camp in this area. Some ideas in the short term, pop-ups like food vendors, art and craft shows, music presentations, and more. I'm sure many local artists and home-based businesses would be interested. In the long term, it would be advantageous for the county to buy the building. The one tenant in the post office would stay, and the now vacant parts of the building could be a community center offering classes, meeting spaces, resource library. Think in terms of a quick fix-up once the building is owned by the county. I think local artists would want to paint the exterior in murals that represent our culture in the Springs. This is art on a larger scale, like the utility boxes now becoming artwork. Local building contractors may volunteer to do a quick job of fixing up the interior. Why wait for a big developer? Why not do this in the interim? I've seen this happen in other communities and can be successful. And last, we've all seen that the building is now even more of a liability to Lefevre Matson, which has recently been disclosed their financial position. This building is really not suited for many commercial uses, but would be ideal community resource. The price could be right to buy this building. We can take community action. We can beautify the Springs commercial corridor. We don't have to wait for a massive plan. So be it if years from now, it's all developed perfectly along Highway 12, but why not create beauty and serve the community now? Just look at each mural, each art project, and what some merchants like Plain Jane's and La Michoacana have done with their buildings. Thanks so much for listening.
Thank you so much. Any other comments in the room? Any public comments online? Seeing no hands or further comment, we'll close the item. All right, thank you all so much. We appreciate you coming in and sharing your concerns with us. So we were going to celebrate Jesus and Joe tonight, but it doesn't look like they're going to make it. So we just wanted to acknowledge our former council members, Jesus Alcaraz, who recently resigned, and Joe Hardiman, who resigned a couple of months ago. We'll miss their voice here. Joe and Jesus both represented part of the Springs that we'll miss having them here. Joe worked with youth at the Boys and Girls Club and all the families, and Jesus really had, he was such an advocate for the Springs. So we'll really miss their service on the council. And we'll get them their certificates maybe through the mail. Is that possible? Thank you. Okay, so that means we have 3 vacancies. So we have 2 alternates and a voting member. So anyone who would like to join us, I believe you can put your application through online through the county, and we'd love to have you up here with us. Okay, that's it for my update. Supervisor Gorin.
I want to thank the community members for coming and commenting on the need for some services and cleanup in the Springs Plaza. And I think that's the whole intent of working to hold a community meeting, to hear your ideas about what you want to see in the community plaza. That I've identified that is one of my 3 priorities for the remaining months of my term. And so I hope that we can make some progress on that, just to reaffirm what many of you have offered the previous go around when we were talking about the Springs Community Plaza. But yes, I know, in fact, I'm meeting with a number of the departments, I believe tomorrow, to talk about strategies for regular maintenance. Maybe video surveillance, but the challenge is we don't have Wi-Fi there. And so how are you going to have a video camera without Wi-Fi and electricity? So that's a challenge. Public signage and more frequent patrolling from the deputy sheriffs, of course, until we get something there that is appropriate and really contributes to the community. To the person who talked about Gregor Street as a cut through, yes, we're very aware that that is a challenge for everyone living on Gregor Street. And we met with a number of the neighbors probably 6 years ago to talk about speed bumps, and then we had fires, and then we had COVID, and things died down a little bit. But if we're interested, you could invite Public Works back here to talk about this. We don't put speed bumps at all on our roads. We put speed tables on the road. They're a little less jolting. And I would say, be careful. You might want to talk with your neighbors about this. They may not appreciate the cut through traffic and the fast traffic. We have fast traffic just about everywhere in the first district. But they may not appreciate the noise from a speed table, because what you have is you have signage, and then you have a car go over the table, and then after that. So it's not a fix all end all, to slow down the traffic, but we are aware of that. And so we can have a conversation with public infrastructure about that. And what you might do is reach out to your neighbors with maybe a petition. I hate petitions because we get 500 names of folks who don't live in the area, but you can reach out to your neighbors and say, would you be interested in attending a meeting on traffic calming on Gregor Street? So I think that that is doable and we can work with you on that. We'll report back on maybe what we could do to improve the conditions, the loitering, the public urination. Hannah has left, but I'm appalled that we have that kind of behavior going on. And I think I heard her. There she is. Well, you're lurking and your baby is adorable. So we'll work on what kind of signage we can put in there so that the deputies can enforce more carefully. I don't really have much to report. We've had a couple of weeks off, yay, but we have a packed agenda on Tuesday night, including a long discussion about what in the heck we do with the contracts as operators for our homeless facilities, the new Eliza's Village and Hotel Azura. Some of those contracts are held by DEMA, and you all have read the papers. We're concerned about a lot of those things. So we'll have a good conversation about that. I did hang on the Zoom for the Homeless Coalition, used to be the Leadership Council. This has representatives from all the cities and the county in a county and service providers in a county-wide committee. They meet once a month to discuss funding services for homelessness and organizations providing services. The good news is that on the list of accepted recommendations is about $200,000 or $300,000 for HAS, Home and Safe Village. So they will have some operational funds. We had to cobble together a compromise for street outreach, and even the staff at the CDC mentioned that Sonoma Valley is extremely underserved by the street outreach. So thanking Ron Wellender, who's the representative, and Chris Corsi for cobbling together that. And we're going to be working with a couple of organizations on potential street outreach for Sonoma Valley, which we desperately need. And I know many of you reported some of our homeless folks camping in the parking lot, and we had to use some outreach services to get them to, and the deputy sheriff to get them to move on. And I am so glad that Amy Appleton and Share Sonoma is here, and she's going to report, but I can't speak more highly about the success that they have created in Sonoma County about housing homeless individuals. And I won't steal your thunder. You're going to talk about that. But I am, I'm open for questions, and I really want to thank Zaira Enriquez and Ariel for being here tonight. As you know, Karina's last meeting was last month, and they're doing an amazing job, although we had to start a little late. That's okay. They're working on it. And we are interviewing folks for additional assistance, primarily in Sonoma Valley. But it's challenging because our supervisor-elect, Rebecca Hermosillo, has indicated she wants to recruit and hire her staff and train her staff. So hiring part-time folks for a short term is difficult, but we're up for that challenge. We want to continue to provide services. Ariel and I we're on the Zoom today with many folks from the county talking about how we can put technology into the conference room at the East Sonoma County Services Center to accommodate the MAC meeting. And apparently that conference facility was designed for in-person conferences in the 80s. So it's really challenging to get technology through the ceiling, through the floor. We think it's a concrete slab. We're working on it. It's very expensive. And if we can get a system in place, we'll move our MAC meetings for the conference room. It may not be with all of the wonderful electronic assistance that we have today. But so I'm available for questions, and please, some of the folks who are here commenting, turn your applications in for the MAC. We want you serving on the MAC.
Any comments from council? Celeste and then, I think it was Celeste and then Jack.
Okay, so thank you. So I live right across the way from Gregor. So I too have almost been taken out, and my dog's almost been taken out many, many times walking off of Johnson onto Lichtenberg and then over to Gregor. And so there's certain times of the day that are significantly worse. A lot of it has to do with like the commute time and then like school pickup times and people cutting down Lichtenberg to sort of take the back way around to avoid Highway 12, which I totally get because I take the back way myself because Highway 12 is hell.
But you do it slowly.
But I do it slowly, and that's my point, right? And so what I observe, and thank you for explaining that we don't have speed bumps, we have the speed tables and the noise that they make, but people are picking up speed when they're coming down the hill
Right.
on Lichtenberg, and then they hit that sharp left because they don't have to stop at the stop sign to turn left onto Gregor. So up at where the hill starts to decline as they're going down, there actually really aren't houses, there's businesses. And so perhaps the speed table wouldn't be as, the noise of it wouldn't be as disruptive to neighbors, but it would slow people down from picking up that speed going down the hill at
And
Lichtenberg.
I would encourage you to maybe think about locations on Gregor Street, Lichtenberg, that might be appropriate for a speed table, but there needs to be a lot of signage because most people are not expecting them, at least initially. And let's have a conversation with public infrastructure. Can't do too many, but one might be effective at a certain location, and certainly some signage with cute little kids like Glen Ellen has, slow down, this is our neighborhood. And that may be helpful as well.
Yeah, and Deshane is getting it too, not the end of Deshane that's up by the park, but the end of Deshane, people cut around to then I think it's over to North Side. Yeah. So it's that little back way that
Yep.
people cut through.
Caltrans required us to close off the what is now the Boys Street parking lot because that was the cut through, as you know. And so now they've figured out Lichtenberg and Gregor Street as the cut through. And I can't say I blame them very much because there's such a queue up of traffic at that traffic signal at Boys, and especially during rush hour. People think they need to be in a hurry. They don't really, but we need to remind them that they're driving through a neighborhood, and we'll do what we can.
Thank you. Jack, did you have a comment?
Yes, I did. I was wondering if public infrastructure had talked about like street pop-outs. I don't know what the official term is for them, but it's like where you have a curb that sticks out into the street to create a bottleneck, which is completely unavoidable, and you have to slow down. And it then means that one thing I'm hearing with speed tables is for anyone who has a lifted vehicle, like any SUV or truck, they can sail straight over those. They don't really need to slow down too much. But it's just yeah, I'm curious if those pop-outs had come up in conversation, because I know that they're very successful in a lot of residential
There
areas.
could be any number of design elements to slow traffic down. And I was noticing that right in front of Andy's Liquors on Highway 12, there is a pop out right there. And it makes it convenient for those folks to think it's a parking area. No, it's a bike lane. So many people stop there, pop into Annie's and pick up their liquor, and instead of parking in the parking space. But there is a little pop out and could be explored. Expensive. And what are our priorities?
Any other comments from council? Seeing none, we'll go to public comment. Oh, did you have
And I
something
have
else?
one more comment. It's about the crosswalks. And yes, indeed, whoever commented on that, we have hired a contractor to install the lighted crosswalks. And so they will be completed probably September, October of this year.
Thank you.
in 4 locations. I know you want them everywhere,
We
but
do.
4 locations.
We'll take 4. Thank you. All right. Any public comment?
I just wanted to follow up on this now speed table or
Uh-oh,
carve
there
out
she goes.
thing.
She has a petition.
Yeah, I already started this and I was lucky enough to speak to Ariel before the meeting to get the format right, but I will change it. So it not only says that we want them, but that the people are signing because they would like this, but that they'll attend a meeting, as you were saying. And also, Ariel was suggesting that I also have people put in their addresses so you know who's local.
Exactly.
But obviously, what goes on in Gregor extends to the whole community because of so many people coming to our street because of La Luz.
Right.
Yeah. So, okay, thank you.
You were prepared. Thank you, Ariel.
Thank
You're
you.
on it.
Any other, thank you.
And Iris with your beautiful blue hair.
Thank you. Hi, y'all.
Hi.
I'm
She's back.
I'm back. I'm wondering about not a speed bump, but roundabouts, the kind that are in Berkeley, that are constructed of the just big round cement thingies. And usually they put something nice in the middle of it. That would certainly, it should slow people down. The other thing is maybe a stop sign at Johnson and in Lichtenberg before, so that they at least presumably they'll slow down, and a few, the highway patrol there looking at that for a little while might be helpful. The other concern I have is that from what I know, the 22 boys buildings are not in good shape. And I think that needs to be clear to the community before we start talking about what will be needed, because at one time I know there was asbestos. I think it was removed from the circular building around the back, but that's all expensive. So anyway, just a caution so we're not tilting at windmills when we go on this. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you, Iris. And I know many people from the community have proposed a community center in that that is a historic building. It used to be the historic rail depot, just in case you did. And the railroad tracks went up Sonoma Highway. So it is historic, and people will fuss if you talk about pulling it down. It's a money pit, and there will be a lot of needs, tenant improvements to do anything with that building. I've alerted the county that that building is delinquent in property taxes, and your guess is as good as mine about what Lefevre is now going to be doing with the enormous number of properties held by Ken Mattson or Lefevre Mattson. And so I did explore what happens if property taxes are in arrears. It will be a few years before it is sold at a sale for property taxes. So we have some time to think about it. The county probably is not in a position to acquire another building. And I would love to know the name of folks in the community that maybe want to purchase that building and rent it out to a nonprofit as a community center. Talk to Supervisor-elect Rebecca Hermosia.
Thank you, Supervisor Gorin. Is there any other public
Tom
comment?
Conlon wanted to.
I see Tom back
Sorry,
there.
I interrupted you.
Not at all. No. I just wanted to say, first, my apologies for showing up in looking like this. I've been cleaning a 75-year-old garage dirt out of my El Verano garage. But I wanted to say I appreciate Susan Gorin's description or hearing all the community concerns about traffic calming and your comments about that. I'm speaking as an individual tonight, but I also serve on the county transportation, Sonoma County Transportation Authority Citizens Advisory Committee. And I appreciate the letter that this body sent to SCTA this past, I think it's already gone out. It's recent. I didn't see it though in my official capacity as a CAC member, and I didn't hear it reported yesterday at the SCTA board meeting. So I was going to go ahead and forward that on to be sure that these concerns are being reflected by staff or being received by staff and decision makers. And because I think some of these concerns are not unique to any of the jurisdictions around the county. And the suggested solutions, bulb outs, wider bike lanes, narrower traffic lanes, speed tables, those sorts of solutions really do require proper design and study, and they're being implemented in some places around the county where it sounds like we're going to get some flashing beacons, all good stuff. But I finally wanted to let everybody in this room know that the county is engaged right now in an active transportation plan update. It's like a master plan for how to get around the community using your body as opposed to a motor vehicle. And I haven't heard about this Gregor in that context. They may be discussing it, but I haven't seen that yet. So I'd encourage you all to reach out to Dana Touré and SCTA staff, engage with her and her consultants directly about your concerns on Gregor Street. And in general, just pay attention to that process, because that's where the planning is going to be established, which subsequently turns into a list of priority projects for funding. So thanks and I just wanted to say too, I had thanked Caltrans and the county for the Donald Gap improvements we've seen over the Agua Caliente Creek Bridge recently. And so I was a little surprised that my tone was reflected in the board minutes this past meeting, but your tone of all the remaining things was not. So that's one of the reasons why I want to be sure I close that loop and bring your concerns back to that committee. So thank you for listening to me. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. We really appreciate that.
I've been in conversation with SCTA and the county on the transportation plan, ATP. And we have proposed a number of projects in Glen Ellen, Arnold Drive, and the Donald Street Gap for the ATP. Everyone agrees, including Caltrans, that the Donald Street Gap actually is the best project to move forward and would qualify for funding in the transportation plan. So a draft of those various projects will come out. I think, April, did you see a draft of the projects?
It's a new priority.
Okay.
And they did apply for federal funding.
Yes. So we are making progress slowly, but we have a lot of infrastructure projects along Arnold Drive, not only the bike lanes, but perhaps a roundabout in Glen Ellen, a roundabout at Madrone and Arnold Drive. We need a traffic signal at Craig and Arnold Drive, because there's a lot of folks wanting to cross to go to that restaurant there. It's lovely. So we know what the needs are, and it's just a question of priority and funding. Some projects, probably not Gregor Street, really qualify for the assistance in the ATP and the prioritization. Gregor Street can be handled perhaps a little differently, more locally for that. So I think I'm done.
All right, thank you. Well, we're gonna, if there's further public comment from the audience, thank you. Then we'll go to the public comment online.
Susan, I was wondering, do you have a time frame in mind for the community gathering?
Can I interrupt you? And I'm so sorry. So can you address the council?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Because it's okay. It's just, we've had some incidences. So if,
Oh, okay.
thank
right.
you.
I was wondering what the time frame might be for the community gathering. That's one question. And the other thing I forgot to actually add is that we used to have farmers markets in that plaza area. And I'm wondering if I don't know how that got initiated or how it started happening, but isn't that something kind of immediately that we can start doing?
Thank you.
And I would just say, we're thinking about early May for the community meeting. And I believe that our new MAC member has really started talking about a farmer's market. Take it away.
And we'll update during the ad hoc updates. But yes, we have started the process of bringing back the Springs Farmers Market. So we're really excited.
That means that you all need to go to the farmer's market.
Yeah.
Because they pulled out because not nearly enough
Yeah.
people were going to the farmer's markets.
Mm.
So there's an obligation on our part. It's not just the farmer's market providing goods and services and wonderful things. It's us actually going to the farmer's market.
Thank you, Susan. Is there further comment? And thank you.
And Josette appeared in Trash and Fashion dancing to Janis Joplin. You want a photo? I'm going to blackmail her.
It's also in the IT. There's a picture. Anyway, but so I just want to ask and reiterate, I understand that, yes, what Iris said, that building is a mess, but I'm hoping that in addition to the farmer's market, that there can be community activities in that spot. And I think then if we could, you know, even if we can't fix the building up, if we can use it for things on a more regular basis, we won't have the issues with it becoming this eyesore. And I know we can't paint it or do anything, but hey, maybe Mattson will let us. So, okay, thank you.
Matson's out of the picture. I understand from the news media. Bring your ideas to the community meeting. What kind of things and what are you willing to organize?
I'm willing to work on an ad hoc. I'm willing to organize stuff. And after my experience with helping with the La Luz Noche this time, I'll be much more prepared to do things.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to go to comment. Is there any comment online?
No comment online at the moment.
Okay, we'll give them a couple of.
I'm a big seller. Everybody wants to
Wow.
hear from me. Thank you to all of you who are working on the MAC, our remaining members. And I'll say it like every 5 minutes. We need more of you to apply for the MACs.
Thank you, Supervisor Gorin. Okay, we are going to move on to share housing. Item 6. We have Amy Appleton here. This was an item requested by Councilmember Winders. So thank you for being here.
Thank you very much. I want to thank you also, Ariel, for helping to facilitate getting the planning for me to be here tonight. And I'd like to reintroduce Rachel Guinness, who is the president of our board of directors. Rachel is instrumental for state of California changing legislation on a state level to make it easier, simpler, cheaper to actually build an accessory dwelling unit or a junior accessory dwelling unit. So she is on our board and we're very grateful to have her with her expertise. So my name is Amy Appleton. I am the founder and the executive director of Share Sonoma County. I actually started it in 2010 when it was a simple home share program, more along the lines of what they might call Golden Girls, you know, little sweet older persons living together in home sharing. I revamped, have restructured the program in 2014 to call it Share Sonoma County. And SHARE is an acronym which stands for Shared Housing and Resource Exchange. We now have 2 very specific housing programs. One prevents homelessness and the other ends homelessness. So the home share program is our preventative for homelessness. We typically will serve seniors who have housing, they have an extra bedroom. 75% of our structured home shares now are what we call full service exchange, which means that in lieu of paying rent, X, Y, and Z very carefully defined services are provided for the homeowner in order that he or she remain home safely to age in place. The person who's looking for housing is typically in her 60s or his 60s, 70s. Extremely low income, cannot even afford really to rent a room or certainly even to rent a studio apartment anywhere in Sonoma County. And a lot of the folks were born in Sonoma County, but they've been priced out of the rental market. Perhaps their mother or father passed away. they lost their housing, and then literally were very close to homelessness. So the full service exchange type of home share is very successful. We average about 85 home shares a year. We only have one housing specialist right now. It's a program that would grow exponentially with the more housing specialists that we would add, because there's so much demand for people who are aging. What we've noticed now is that there's more and more older, much older people needing housing. We literally have housed this particular quarter from January through March, 3 different women who are all in their 80s who had just become homeless. And a little phenomenon, it's actually Sonoma Valley or anywhere where there's rural land, where you have an older person who was friends with the homeowner or the property owner who passed away, and the sibling, the children are going to sell the property. And so they've given this person who may have lived there for 40 years and most likely in not even habitable structure at this point, but they were really close friends and they were able to stay on the property for years and years and years. So there's that kind of a little weird little homelessness population that we're starting to see. And there, we just literally had 3 from Sonoma Valley. So the home share program, it's preventative. Most of the folks that come to us are within 30 days of homelessness. We have right now in Sonoma Valley, we have 14 home shares that are active. One of our oldest ones is at 7 Flags, and the lady is providing services. The homeowner has continued to deteriorate over the past 7 years to now she can't even drive. So that person who's been living with her all this time, and they're certainly friends by now, there's an enormous amount of companionship. Now she drives her, so she's paying just a couple of $100 of rent now, and then doing all these different services for her friend and the person who is her landlord, essentially. So that's the home share program. Our other program, which is very successful, is what I call community housing. And what we do is we master lease empty homes. So both of these programs literally are going after existing housing. We do not do any shovel in the dirt. We're not building anything. So this is accessible, ready right now housing for people who need it. And it's genuinely affordable housing. You know, you can look at a contractor and their idea of affordable housing is not the same as mine. Mine means somebody who has 0 income, we can actually house them. So the community housing program, we now have 32 houses, and we master lease the empty house. The average is 4-bedroom homes. They're all over the county, mostly up and down the 101 corridor. I've made a commitment to Supervisor Gorin that we will get into Sonoma Valley. Frankly, we had a bit of trouble with the Department of Health Services this year with getting our reimbursements paid timely. So we were strapped for a couple of months here or there, not being able to secure additional housing. Now we're in really good shape. We've housed, you were talking about DEMA. So DEMA runs 2 sites now. They're down to 2 sites. They grew crazily during the COVID, where they were trying to get the homeless off the streets. So there was a lot of money that came down into Sonoma County to get them so they would just try to stop the spread of COVID. So now there's still people left. One of the sites has about 10 people left, and from that site, we've housed 17 this year. The other site is Mickey Zane Place, which we were literally taking 3 people from there. They're moving in tomorrow in a 4-bedroom community house. And those folks were placed there from SAY, which shut down, as you know, about a month ago. So they were temporarily put into Mickey Zane Place. So we're moving them into a community house tomorrow, literally. So those community houses, they're master lease. We do year leases. Our conversation with property owners or property management companies is that we want to have this lease for minimally 3 years. So if you cannot commit to us that we can extend to have a 3-year lease, so the folks that we bring into the housing has permanent supportive housing. And now we're actually beginning to develop capital so that we can start securing, just purchasing some of these houses. So we have 32 houses and 140, almost 150 previously chronically unhoused people in these houses. We've had 0 attrition with people not being successful. And guess what? It turns out shared housing is a really good idea for some people. When you have this community, you know, you get these folks in the house, they're peer-to-peer, they all understand each other, they all came off the trail, they all came out of homelessness, long-term homelessness, they really understand each other. And so if somebody has a car, then that person, we will make sure that they're paying it forward. They drive that, another person who doesn't have the car, that they go to get meals, grocery shopping together. So there's a lot of trying to help and support everyone within the household. We have lots of problems. There is no question from the standpoint that once someone is housed, they want their unhoused friends to come. And so we have had to install cameras where there's a lot of house rules that really aren't applicable for fair housing rules and regulations. But to create those boundaries and the structure that the house needs in order that everyone feels safe in the house is essential to the success of our program.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Thank you so much. I'm very impressed with your program. Thank you for bringing it to us. And thank you for suggesting that. Any comments from council? Mari Carmen and then Gil.
I know. Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing. I'd heard about Share. You're located in Hillsburg?
Sorry?
Out of Hillsburg?
We're everywhere.
No, but
we're located, our offices are in Santa Rosa.
Santa Rosa. Okay. So I've seen the name, but my question is the money from that you're receiving from DHS, is it coming from CalAIM?
We actually are a community support provider
Oh,
for
I was just gonna
CalAIM.
for a partnership.
Yes,
Okay.
and the way we can bill for that is because we're receiving monies for case management.
Mhm.
We have 6 different funds, which Susan alluded to, Supervisor Gordon alluded to, which comes down through the Homeless Coalition Board. This particular fiscal year, which will begin July 1, literally the budget that came in last fiscal is 50% of last fiscal year. So a lot of us didn't get as much as we could use
You mean from
from the fundings that come down through HUD, through the state of California, through local governmental dollars.
Okay.
So it was 50% less budget available to distribute to all of us service providers. So I'm going to be okay. I've got a staff of 8, and we actually are hiring an additional case manager. Our case managers right now have a ratio of 1 case manager to 50 clients, which is a little high when you're working with those who were previously chronically unhoused.
Okay. Thank you. I just wanted to confirm that.
Thank you so much. Gil?
Thank you for the presentation. So the people that you're housing, are there any families of young kids?
Thank you for that question. We, in our community houses, they tend to have a theme. We have a Roanoke Park house where some folks from Columbia were trafficked, literally ended up in Roanoke Park. So in that house, it's in the most bizarre configuration or household configuration, but we have 2 families of 4 in an 8-bedroom home. So the mother and father are in 1 bedroom, and then there's 2 children in the 2nd bedroom, so they're renting 2 bedrooms. So, but yes, we have mothers, we have single mothers with children. So we absolutely will work with households with minors, with children under 18 years of age. We haven't had anyone born yet in a house. which would be nice. And we haven't had anyone get married yet, but we're just, but I kind of marvel at where we are today. When I started revamped or restructured in 2014, not in a million years would I have imagined that we could have housed somebody. I had somebody who had been on the street for over 40 years. She's in her 70s. And when I took her into the house to show her the kitchen, she passed out because she couldn't believe that she would have access to a refrigerator. And I think that one thing, my biggest mission really is to educate people why people become homeless, and that these folks, there's a real reason that people become homeless. It doesn't necessarily need to be drugs and all of these things that happen. I mean, especially in the home share program, you'll have somebody, they've experienced a life catastrophic event. And it may not just be one, it could be 5 of them that finally took them down, and they might not have been addicted to drugs, but once they got on the street, they became addicted to drugs. So I really do try very hard to put a face on homelessness.
Yeah, thank you for your humanity. I appreciate that. Celeste.
So thank you. Full disclosure, you gave me a whole bunch of your time and we met because I connected with you through Supervisor Gorin, because we're experiencing a really serious issue here in Sonoma, and that we have unhoused families and we have virtually no resources for housing for families here in the Valley. That when our families experience houselessness, the only temporary housing they can find is outside of the Valley, which means the one stable thing that the kids have is their school community, and they have to end up leaving it to find shelter in another city in the county. And so it's really a challenge of like, how do we keep our families here in the Valley and keep them sheltered and have them not living in their vehicles and trying to find a new living room floor every single day or week. And so I met with you about this and the idea of having a community house in Sonoma Valley specifically to address the needs of houseless families in the Valley. Because we do have some facilities for individuals, but so that the public understands, you can't house houseless families with houseless individuals. Those housing shelters need to be separate.
That's right.
For a variety of obvious reasons. So I really thank you for coming and presenting this, because this is something that we really, really need in Sonoma, and I'm glad that we're getting this moving forward and with the county supervisor's office and, getting some funding and locating a house, because we've got to figure something out, because we're losing our families and we're losing our kids. And there are families who are living under the radar because they're afraid that if people find out they're houseless, that they'll lose their children, even though I keep assuring them that that's not what happens, but there's that fear. And so if we can just get some housing, and I think that the shared housing model is beautiful for families, because when you're working multiple jobs and when you're struggling with that level of poverty, having a community within your house that you can help one another out with childcare, help one another out cooking meals, that can take an enormous load off of an already stressed family.
Yeah.
So
And now we finally got ahead of we've gotten enough reimbursements. So we're now actually able to go out and secure a house in Sonoma Valley. So that literally just has happened not even a month ago. So I'm excited about that. So we will be looking at real estate to see, typically for us, you want to get something where the bedroom averages around 800 a month, each bedroom, really. And if you're putting a family of 4 in 2 bedrooms, maybe that's affordable, and maybe there's some rental assistance that we can garner from somewhere, I'm not sure.
Thank you.
Well, I've got a family of 4 in 1 bedroom right
Yeah,
now.
they're still in that. Yes, yes. Well, the other thing you mentioned is that, they talk about the homeless count. We have 2,400 homeless in Sonoma County, and that's absolutely not true. We have all of those that you don't see that are under the radar because, you know, they have a job. They may use the 24-hour fitness as their shower to go to work and things. So some of our outreach is, in addition to street outreach, is going to storage units, going to the places where the gyms and all of those different places where people go because they're homeless.
Thank you. We're going to move to public comment in the audience.
Just one last question. I
Oh,
know
sorry,
you
Maria Carmen.
mentioned that you were helping a Spanish speaking family. So I was gonna ask that if your case manager is bilingual.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And our
That's
new
what-
one that we have actually on Indeed.com right now must be bilingual.
Okay. Thank
Yeah,
you.
we have two bilingual. Yeah, because more and more of our population is Hispanic. Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Is there public comment in the audience? Okay, any public comment online?
No public comment online.
No, we do. We have,
So how many people are online?
we do. We have
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. How many people are out there?
3 or 4.
Okay.
And then we live stream too on Facebook and a couple.
Okay, cool.
Not sure how many people are watching that, but okay.
Mar- oh. Mario, I am going to allow you to talk. Please go ahead and begin your public comment.
Can you hear me there?
Yes, we can hear you. Thank you.
Awesome. Good evening, Cherry Tori, members of the MAC. My name is Mario Castillo. I'm the current chair of the Sonoma Valley Housing Group, and my comment is really to appreciate MAC member Winders for bringing up this program to present. It's really refreshing and it really provides some amazing information and opportunities for us here in the Sonoma Valley. Especially because I feel like the Latinx community, especially the undocumented community, has already kind of like modeled this, has already created or has a track record in terms of modeling this type of sharing. We, because of the lack of resources, because of the reality of living under the shadows, we have to kind of like stick together and support each other when resources are just not there and available. Hopefully, and then again, that's actually where my area of concern always is, that this program sort of like become much more available for people who are actually who can access resources due to the fact that they are documented. And then oftentimes, the undocumented, the people of color, Latinos, always, sort of get the short end of the stick. And it's just like, I mean, that's just the nature of due to the funding and the constraints. But I wish there was more to actually like be more intentional in being more in creating more advocacy around this particular group that is oftentimes, like I said, always gets the short end of the stick. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Castillo. Any other comment online?
No more comment online.
Okay, seeing none. Thank you so much. We really appreciate you
you.
coming in.
Thank you.
Really important work. Thank you. All right, we will move to item 7. Adrian Cabrera is here from the Sonoma Ecology Center, and then we'll take a break after that. So thank you, Adrian.
All right. Hello, everybody. My name is Adrian Cabrera Cortez. I'm a volunteer with the Sonoma Ecology Center, and I'm here on behalf of them to give a little presentation. Is
you go.
that better?
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you.
Yeah, here to give a little presentation about Sugarloaf State Park and specifically a program with which I am a volunteer, Senderos Naturales. So yeah, here's just some information about the park in case you haven't been or maybe you have been, just wanted to know a little more. It's about 7.4 square miles of area. We have a lot of camping sites. There's picnic areas, 30 miles of trails, seasonal waterfall, observatory, which is really cool. It's open to the public a few times a month for public like star viewing and telescope usage. Yeah, that's a bit about the park. Next slide, please. Just some nice pictures, trails when it snowed there like a few years back. Pretty rare, pretty special. Park is very biodiverse, a lot of natural resources there, various species of plant, flowering plant, birds and mountain lions, bears, and it is also the headwater of the Sonoma Creek watershed. So I just wanted to bring this up because, yeah, the park is very rich in biodiversity, which is very important in a world where there's the extinction rate, the global extinction rate of species is very high. And that's like its whole big issue, but it's really important to have like this stronghold of biodiversity in a county that is pretty developed, at least in East Sonoma County, right? The Santa Rosa and Sonoma Valley area are all pretty developed, but it's an important wildlife and habitat corridor. So there's that. Next slide, please. And just a little bit of the timeline of the park. So in 1962, the park was sold to the state. Prior to that, it was a private ranch. Then a few years later, it was open to the public and remained that way for over, what is that, like 40 years, until it was closed due to like financial issues. The park or the state didn't have the necessary funds to run the park. So they closed it until the Sonoma Ecology Center came in partnership with local other organizations and struck an agreement with the state to reopen the park with the newly created Team Sugarloaf, headed by the Sonoma Ecology Center, that they would run the park, that they would take charge in all the maintenance stuff, but that it would be a state park. And just some about the Sonoma Ecology Center. For those of you that don't know about it, it's a local nonprofit dedicated to the preservation of the natural environment and the ecology of our valley. And in doing so, they have three really main goals, which are education. They have a lot of programs with the public school system in the valley to educate kids on ecology, natural sciences, all that sort of stuff. There's also just investigation, research about the health of our ecosystems and in the valley ecologically, and restoration, taking that information from the investigation and putting it in action to restore the natural environment of our valley. And here's some pictures of a prescribed burn at Van Hoosier Wildflower Preserve, which are really important to mitigate fuel for, as we all know, as living here in the valley, fires have been a big issue in recent years. So yeah, prescribed burns help to mitigate fuel for in the future if there's ever a bigger fire, that it doesn't run as rampant. Yeah, just another nice picture, I guess. And results from the reopening of the park, big results in more admission, more paid admission, a lot more visitors, a lot more people using the park. Per volunteer, more hours per volunteer compared to a lot of other state parks. Yeah, that's another thing. Sonoma Ecology Center, or although Team Sugarloaf runs it, the park, it's mainly operated by volunteers who lead events, hikes, maintain the trails, all sorts of things. A lot of volunteers behind the scenes, keeping everything running. And there's just a map about like how the park has been affected over the fires. I think it says up there it's like 50% of the fire, 50% of the park was burned through the Glass and Nuns fire, like after the fact, everything combined. And again, volunteers hard at work reconstructing trails and maintaining the park after the fires. And a bridge they rebuilt really quickly after a fire. Volunteers got together and really put in a lot of work to get everything back in order. And just some programs. There's the Critter Cam project, which is like they have wildlife cameras in trails and around the park to capture wildlife, and so that gives us an idea of just the biodiversity of the park and the movement of wildlife through the area. Park RX is like it's like a hiking group where they like incrementally like increase the difficulty of hikes. So it's like a fitness activity for a group. A lot of environmental education for adults, and then Senderos Naturales, which is what I'm here to mainly talk about today. Next slide, please. Yeah, so Senderos Naturales is a program for recreation and outdoor education, specifically for Latinos in our valley. We do guided hikes in Spanish with different themes each time. We have done like things about like animals, plants, fungus, birds specifically. We've done talks at the observatory where we bring people in, you know, they can observe stars and planets and all that sort of stuff. And with much thanks to grants, the program is free. So all anyone has to do is just sign up, you know, sign up for a ticket, but it's all free. And well, the program was created to address certain barriers to access to outdoor spaces and green spaces in the Latino community in the Valley. You know, we have a lot of parks, Jack London, Sugarloaf, Sonoma Valley Regional, really near to us, but we noticed that despite that, and you know, in the Springs, we have a large Latino community. There weren't as many Latinos going to those parks compared to like, for example, like white families. And just wanted to address those issues. For example, like just a lack of public outreach, a lack of transportation, cost perhaps, and of course language, because there's not a lot of programs like this. So I'd like to speak a little bit to my own experience. I'm the son of Mexican immigrants, and my parents were like working class, working most of the time, so we never really had opportunities to go out in nature and see those things. But it was through my involvement with the Sonoma Ecology Center that I got exposed to all that. They came to do talks at my elementary school, El Verano. That's where I got involved with them. But like I went camping with them for the first time. I went to a bunch of parks, helped out the Sonoma Garden Park. And through that, I realized my own passion for wildlife conservation and ecology. And so I kind of wanted to pay that forward with my involvement with this program to kids who might be in similar situations that I was in. So I'm super grateful for those opportunities, and I just want to pay that forward in that respect. Then we have the results here in 2021. We had 118 visitors, participants in the program, 58 of whom were the first time they'd ever been to the park. 50% of those are kids, and in that year, 11 families camped for the first time. So that was great. 2022, we had 192 participants, and in 2023, there were 277 participants. So a pretty steady increase that we're thankful for. I've actually only been a part of this program for about 6 months, so I wasn't really here for all that. But yeah, I'd also like to share one particular story about the first time I attended an event. It was, I forget what the topic was, but yeah, we were hiking and we had a family of 5 come, a mother, a father, and their 2 kids, their 2 boys. The oldest was about 11, and I was hiking with them. We're like ahead of everybody, and we're like on this little trail, like up a little hill, and he like just ran ahead of me, and I was like, oh, you know, kid, and he just has energy, right? And he reached the crest of the hill, and he just like turned to his left and just like stopped like dead in his tracks, and his eyes were fixated on something. I was like, oh, what could it be? And I went over to him. He like, you know, come over here and told me like, be quiet, you know, shush. And I got up and I looked, and there was like a family of deer just hanging out there. And I was like, oh, well, cool, like that's really cool, deer. It's cool to see, right? And we hung out there for a bit, just watched the deer, and they moved on eventually. And then we kept hiking, and then he came up to me and was like, wow, like that was the first time I've ever seen a deer. And to me, I had kind of taken that growing up here, and spending a fair amount of time outdoors. I've seen a lot of deer, but that kid was 11, and that was the first time he's ever seen a deer. And just knowing the happiness that brought him, the spark in his eye, really inspired me and reminded me of how I felt as a kid going to parks like that with the Ecology Center and getting those experiences that otherwise I may not have. So I'm grateful to have been able to help that kid have that experience. And yeah, some events coming up this actually Saturday, where we'll be going to Van Hoosier Wildflower Preserve. It's pretty special because it's a private preserve, and not a lot of public events are allowed or authorized there because it's, you know, it's private. So that'll be this Saturday. Unfortunately, I think tickets are sold out on that one. I'm not sure, but you can check that QR code if you'd like. Yeah, we have that one. Then one, the 4th of May, about flowers and just plants in the park. That will be the theme of that one. And then the next week will be one at the observatory, where again it'll be about like stars and the solar system. Last time we did one there, we had a Colombian scientist who came and gave a talk all in Spanish about like solar flare, something like that. But it's really cool, really good resource. You know, that not a lot of resources like that. Again, like this program, having a focus in Spanish isn't very common, and especially to have like actual like academic come and give like a educated scientific talk completely in Spanish I was really happy to be a part of that. There's some past events, one about amphibians, one about fungus. Yeah, and there's just a nice picture of a sunset from the summit of Bald Mountain. For those of you who haven't been or maybe have been, I'd recommend going. Maybe even going again if you have been, because it's really nice. And just some like how you can participate. You can visit the park, attend events, become a member. You can get discounts on like volunteer or on like guided hikes and stuff like that. You can volunteer or you can donate. So yeah, we'd be happy to have any of you guys there. Being in nature is, I'm sure we're all very familiar with, but it's very good for you, for your soul, for your health in all aspects, to get out there and learn and explore. So yeah, thank you. And that's just another nice picture. Yeah. That's it.
Thank you so much. And thank you for reinforcing how important school programs are, that we get kids outdoors and our outdoor education programs. And it's very nice to see you again.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Glad to be here.
All right. Are there any comments from council members?
You go first.
So thank you. I learned from one of your colleagues at one of our MAC events that you guys also were running a program for creating camping access to in particular our Spanish speaking families, where you were even providing like the tents and guiding that. And I thought that was such a phenomenal program, because for so many people, that's their first time getting to have a camping experience. And so I wanted to point that out, and that for those who can't afford a membership, it's the best deal in town because you also get access to Jack London. I buy my pass every year, and it's like the best purchase I ever make every year is to have access to both of those parks like that. And so thank you for, again, you are a testament to the importance of making sure that all of our kids have access to these experiences.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, like I went camping for the first time at Sugarloaf, and that was like a really formative experience. So yeah, I'm glad that we're able to do that for other people. I haven't been a part of that. Again, like I'm relatively new to the program. I think that was like last year, but yeah, I am aware of those events.
Thank you. Mari Carmen, did you want to say something?
Oh, yes, no, just beautiful presentation, Adrian. But what I also want to say about Park RX is that Park RX is literally like a prescription from your doctor. So they actually have like these cards that say Park RX. It has your doctor's space for your doctor's name. And then they actually prescribe it to you for either just stress relief or for nutrition, like health. So literally like your doctor signed it off, you can get free passes to Sugarloaf. So talk to your doctor. We have them at the health center.
What? I didn't know that actually.
Yeah, it's
I didn't know that,
actually,
so
it's
thank you.
actually like they're prescribing you to go to nature as medicine.
Oh, well, that's great.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Any public comment? Any comment online?
Yes, there is one public
All
comment
right.
online.
Thank you.
Mario, go ahead and state your public comment, please. Thank you.
Thank you. So Mario Castillo,
El Verano resident, Sonoma Valley. So I just wanted to mention or actually appreciate this presentation about senderos. I'm fortunate to say that I started the program with the Ecology Center back in the day when I was working at El Verano School. And I am so grateful that the Ecology Center has been able to keep it going and making it available for the Latinx community, focusing on culturally relevant programming for our community that oftentimes, due to multiple, as you guys know, barriers, do not have access to this type of services. So having this be available, is an amazing resource. And just again, just wanted to really thank the Ecology Center for their continued commitment to this program. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Cantu.
Can you hear my response to that?
Yes.
Oh, I just want to say thank you, Mario. I actually didn't know that you founded it, so huge thanks to you. Yeah, it's a boon to our community, our Latino community here in the Valley. Also, one thing I forgot to mention is that we also have partnerships with La Luz and the Sonoma County libraries, where we bus people out from like multiple library locations, depending on the event, or from La Luz Center to the event in case, some people can't make it because of like transportation issues. So we provide that again, free of charge. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for coming in. And again, really nice to see you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. All right, we'll take a 5-minute break and then we'll come back and finish up the agenda. Thank you all for being here. All right, ad hoc updates. We'll start with Adopt a Road.
Hello again. So, the two action points we have are we need to decide on what date we want to do this in the summer months. And in addition to that, we need to figure out the process for the distributing the video training and disclaimers to anybody that wants to volunteer. I think we need to check on how long in advance that needs to happen. I think based on the last email, it's a month before the event that training ideally needs to be done. And we're trying to figure out if there's a way for that to be made available at the services station, just in case someone doesn't have access to like have access to the training easily on their own. So more to come on that.
Okay. Do we need to decide on a date? When do you want to do that?
Hopefully when it's not too hot.
Okay. So can you say, maybe I missed that part. How does the date get decided? Did we decide that or does somebody else have to with the ad hoc?
Yeah, with the ad hoc, and then
Okay.
we'll bring that just to confirm with council that that's all well and good.
Okay, very good. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Sorry, I missed that part. Okay. Bicycle racks. Lindsay.
Yes, so can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're having to kind of start over on this. I just joined and so we're brainstorming on ideas right now, working with SV runners for event, which is a color run / bike rack painting. And we're still working out the logistics. I know we'll have a little more info on that and the budget spreadsheet as well next meeting. So we should have, a lot more figured out by next meeting, but we do still plan to move forward with doing the color run and the bike rack event together. And so more to come.
Great. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Do you want me to update on the farmer's market too now, or wait?
We don't have it listed as an ad hoc. It is not on mine. Why isn't it? Okay, it's not in my notes. Sorry about that.
No.
Yes, that would be fabulous. Go right
Okay.
ahead.
Okay, this will be quick as well. So, we are in the process right now of outreach for, bringing back the Springs Farmers Market. Our ideal location for that would be in the county parking lot, post office, 22 Boys. And so, more to come on this, work in progress. If anyone in the community wants to get involved as well, please reach out to Supervisor Goran's office. Or if you were previously involved, please reach out if you want to help out with this as well. So more to come on this at our next meeting. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Yes.
I'm really glad that you're doing this. I was a big fan of it. But I know it was a heavy lift for the market director. I think that was her title. I don't know what her title was. Anyway, Kelly, she was great. But to Supervisor Goran's point, like just trying to get people to get in the rhythm of going, because I would talk to people and they go, "Oh, I forgot it was last night," right? And like just trying to get people in that habit, because it really does become a habit that that's where you go get your produce every week. And I'm just wondering if, as a MAC, if it's something that we could explore, maybe creating like a farmer's market passport where you could get like stamped, and then when you fill it up, you could like hand it in to, win prizes, or we could do something to help encourage the community, not just to come once, but to come multiple times to sort of fill their passport up kind of thing.
Yeah.
And to encourage them to try different vendors and that kind of stuff. So I'm just trying to sort of think of ideas to help get people into that habit of that's where I go to buy my produce, type of habit. And then once you get in the habit, like that's just your thing and you do it and you don't forget. But I just remember in the past trying to get the outreach out there and people would go, "Oh my gosh, I really wanted to go and I totally forgot." Or I didn't remember and then it was over. And so just
I think you
wondering
would
if
be
you
a
could-
great ad hoc member because we only have two, and you were, and you would be a great number three.
Yeah, no, I would. I'd be very happy to help because I would love to see us try to get people into the habit of doing
Do
it.
we have
but
to make a vote for
Do
that?
we have to vote
Make
Celeste
a motion?
onto the ad hoc?
I got volunteered.
Yeah. I think we do,
Yeah.
but
If that's how you guys usually do it.
Yeah.
Three.
okay. Yeah. Karina's still,
I would like to make a motion to have Miss Councilmember Winders be part of the Springs Farmers
and I
Market.
hear a second from. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, you are now on another ad hoc.
So let's focus on that then.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you, Lindsay, for reporting on both of those. Okay, emergency preparedness.
Okay. We met with Councilmember Dong, just so I can give him a little history. Councilmember Reno was out on work. So I just want to give him a little history background of what we've done with emergency preparedness and where we're at. So we do need to have an official meeting with the ad hoc, which is actually Celeste, myself, Mr. Dong. So, because we need to work on that draft agreement. And Mr. Dong has a lot of ideas. So with his prior experience, and he can speak more to that. And so that we need to, that's one of the biggest things that we have to do in order to be able to move forward with an MOU with the school district.
Great. Thank you so much.
Mr. Dong, would you like to?
So I think when I had the little coffee chat, I was thinking that we create somewhat of a 2-year strategic plan or a working plan that would create some benchmarks. There are things like checking the equipment, and we want to do inventory, see what needs to be replaced. May is a wildfire preparedness month. September is National Disaster Preparedness Month. And so looking at taking advantage of those activities and coordinating with all our county partners at OEM or DEM and fire and sheriffs, Red Cross, something that I wanted to take a look at when it was drafted as part of the Red Cross shelter agreement. I have an interest at looking at the different facilities because you always have to have a backup plan, and just reading some old notes, there's only really one. I think it was Altamira was going to be designated, but if we had an earthquake like what Taiwan just had or another wildfire, that may be too close, too small. We may be looking at going Sonoma High together. So it's just having different facilities. So that's, I think, what we're going to be working on the next time we meet, just reviewing that.
Great. I'm so glad that you three are working on this.
And the 18th is the shakeout. And so just reminding everybody, it's a good time to make sure you have your earthquake preparedness kits and that they're not like full of old stuff that isn't helpful anymore. And that you know what to do because we've been having a lot of earthquake activity happening in nationwide and beyond. So
And may I say, we actually having a real shakeout event at Alvarado School with the health center. We're actually bringing the big shaker from San Diego. If you have not felt an 8.0 earthquake, big shaker is going to be there. We're going to be giving out backpacks, emergency backpacks for the DM. We're going to be giving out life straws, and also doctors, which are like these portfolios that are fire and water resistant for documents and for money. Organizations can actually register, or groups, and the counties actually, if you sign up through the county, you enter in a raffle. So we'll be doing also another raffles for groups. It could be schools, churches, anyone, the runners club maybe, and there's gonna be tacos.
What date?
4/20. I was gonna make a joke, but that's not okay. That is not okay. So yes, no, but for reals, I'm gonna ask you to share it on the Springs Mac page.
Will do. Thank you.
Yes. But
Okay.
everybody's invited, 12 to 3, Alvarado School, and if the ad hoc would like to have a little table for the Mac, super amazing. Zara has a table we can get from. Thank you.
All right.
Were you also looking for volunteers?
Yes, we're also looking for volunteers, and that's on my separate job. So that's a different hat, but also on the ad hoc. Yes. Reach out to the health center if you're interested in volunteering.
Thank you. Okay, utility boxes update. With Jesus off the Mac, it's me. And right now so I posted some pictures. We have the Comcast boxes are in progress. I don't know if they've been completed or not, but they got a lot of work done last weekend and they are beautiful. They are really beautiful. So very exciting that we got them done. So I just lots of appreciation for D1 and Karina and Jesus and Artscape for all the work that they've done. I don't know where we are with the non-Comcast, the Caltrans boxes. I'm not sure where that is. Ariel, do you
Yes, I
provide an
have
update?
a small update, which is that Caltrans did not accept the documents that Karina provided, which were essentially like MAC minutes as the resolution of a government entity. So Sonoma Public Infrastructure, Janice, is going to put through an official board item and it will get approved. It's just going to be in about June. So that one's going to have to wait a little more, but it's still in process.
Pardon me? Yeah. Wow, this has been quite the process. All right, well, but thank you to Comcast for their flexibility and how easy they've been to work with. So, and yeah, I didn't say that part, Supervisor Gord. But anyway, so thank you to Comcast. Thank you to Artiscape and Jesus who really drove this, and to Karina. So very exciting. All right. Social media outreach, we're doing a little bit more, trying to get a little bit more out there, but still not enough, but working on it. I skipped logo competition because I think we're going to have a conversation about this one. So logo competition. We checked with county council, and Ariel, would you like to give an update on that?
Sure. So essentially, and I wasn't here during the private conversation, but Karina did brief me and I discussed this with Karina extensively, but I wasn't here for the context. But we do have to award the winner, who was announced the winner, the prize money. And we can move forward with that. I think we have his information. As far as what the MAC would like to do with your logo, you aren't obligated to use his design if you don't want to. You can keep your current design. You can launch a new contest. You can, if any of you are creative, if you want to design one, if you want to start a logo ad hoc 2.0, if you want to do something I didn't just suggest, that's probably also fine.
Okay, thank you for that. So what is the pleasure of the group? We can do any number of things.
As I said at my last meeting, I moved that we pay the individual, we used the artwork that was created. This was a 2-year process for those who were before me. I just can't see spending another 2 years trying to create another logo. And part of my motion is that we also dispense with the logo competition ad hoc committee.
I was thinking of actually keeping the current one, since Ariel said that we don't have to use the other one even though they get paid. We're not under obligation to use
Is that correct?
the logo. She just mentioned that.
Okay.
Yep.
And that we could, I actually really like our current logo and that beautiful blue and maybe when we have more time to do another contest or if we find another one, but I personally really, I like this one but I don't know what everyone else thinks.
So I agree with you. I feel like our logo is, we've been using it for how many years? 5 years. It may not, I would second that motion, but I don't know what others think.
Yeah, I agree with that as well.
There was a motion on the table.
Oh, I thought you did
so,
never mind.
that was a
Sorry.
discussion, but someone, if you could second, yeah.
I can second that.
Wait, which one? Hold on.
I
Don't
had
second anything.
proposed an idea, but I didn't make an official
Oh, I
motion,
thought you did.
But if everybody agrees with the majority, then I would like to make a motion to keep.
Let's give everybody just a second. Is there anybody else who wants to make a comment before we? No. Okay, go ahead, Mighty Conman.
Okay, with that said, yes, I would like to make a motion to maintain the same logo after and making sure that the money is paid to the contest winner and that we are under no obligation of using the logo of the winner, that we can still use our beautiful Spring Smack blue logo.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, any opposed?
I'm not for nor against, so I guess I'm opposed.
Motion carries.
You can also abstain.
Nay.
All right. Would the second part of your motion, can you do that part again to disband this logo, put the logo committee out of their misery?
Yeah, okay. I move that the logo.
Is there a second?
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, thank you. Okay, Was that all the ad hoc reports? Yes. Okay. All right. Any public comment on the ad hocs?
I'm sorry, but just as a member of the public, I haven't been following the logo discussion. I haven't seen the logo you just agreed to pay for. And was wondering if you have a copy of it we could see tonight. If not, that's fine. But I just procedurally, it just struck me as a little strange to be taking a vote before public comment.
Thank you for that.
I'm working on pulling up the design.
Okay. Is there any other public comment in the room?
Hi, guys. Good evening. This isn't in regards to the logo, but this is more in regards to our bike rack and color run. So again, my name is Danny, born and raised here in Sonoma. I'm the founder of Sonoma Valley Runners, a club that I put together to promote health and wellness in our community. And as a nonprofit, we do need donations to power our projects and further our mission. So we are working on creating a budget form to submit to council member Norman here so that she can put it forward to all the council members and hopefully get that approved. If given the opportunity, we have a local food truck, Tri-Tip Trolley, who is interested in collaborating on this event to give back to our community. And then also, we think that having a food truck and a DJ booth can help elevate the experience for all of our runners here in the community. So yeah.
Thank you.
Participating in a color run offers a range of physical, mental, social, and community-related benefits for both kids and adults. Community runs can boost mental well-being by creating a sense of achievement and enhancing self-confidence. They also provide chances for individuals to engage with others who have similar interests in fitness and a healthy lifestyle.
Thank you so much. Do we have the logo?
Sorry, I'm still looking for it.
Okay,
It's been
I'll
a
see if I
couple
can find it.
months.
We have another public comment online.
Mario, please go ahead and state your public comment. Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you again for allowing me to speak on this matter, particularly on the logo. I appreciate the previous commenter, Tom Cullen, in regards to the way the MAC or the members went ahead and then made the process and not allowing public comment. I think that this whole process has been quite interesting, and how it's sort of like ending. I feel that it would be good if in fact part of the of honoring the responsibility is to actually make use of the logo, and then instead of backpedaling and backtracking and then just deciding to use the logo that has been used. It's important. It's public funds. People should know, and I think that there should be more conversations in terms of how to engage. I mean, work with the public schools, create something that add to that logo, maybe revamp it, maybe make it more unique. So I'm happy to help. I mean, I am very. It's not just not just talking, but actually offering support, but it is public funds, and then it is and then the logo that we've been using, if it was intended to change it should be changed, and then the new logo should be used to honor the public funds. Thank you.
Thank you. I just sent you the new logo, or the old, whatever it is. The old, new, So since I didn't call for public comment first, do we need to redo everything?
I think it's your call how you respond to what you've heard from the public. You can always revote, you can always table this and bring it back for a fuller discussion.
Okay, thank you. What do y'all want to do?
If there wasn't any objection, and that one way we could do it is if somebody who was on the dissenting side could reconsider reconsider the motion to bring the motion back up.
So there's only Jack that disagreed, right? Or abstained?
It was a nay.
It was an A,
Mhm.
okay. Would you like to, so what I think I hear you saying is if Jack brings the motion back up.
Yeah, the motion would to be reconsider as a dissenting side, and then it would allow further conversation, and we can re-vote on it if it changes anything.
Or we can bring it back another time.
Or we can re-vote on it again since we've heard public comment.
I did mention in the motion that we could use it meanwhile we do a new one.
Mhm.
So that does open it for it did make space for a new logo based on the fact that the majority of us after what the council, what legal counsel suggested, that we didn't have the obligation to use it. So that's why I left it open so that we can change it in the near future when we feel we have the capacity to retake this project, because I know we're all super busy in this tick like almost a year, huh?
Yeah, we all learned a lot of lessons from it, so I think it'll probably go faster this time. Do we want to take the previous motion off the table and then bring this back at another, so it's just me on the logo committee now, right? So, oh, you too, okay. Joe was the third. And we can bring this back for a further conversation at another time, which still leaves us ambiguous and using the current logo. Because public comment appears to want us to perhaps reconsider.
Mhm.
They want us to reopen public comment.
I think that I think it's probably sensible to come back to this. What has been agreed, just for context of anyone listening, is that the agreement for the winner was for them to be financially compensated, which is going ahead. However, in terms of usage, it is an optional thing. So there's a question mark of what to do there. Should we use the assets? Should we think about other ones? Or should we retain what we currently have? Based on other feedback that we received at previous meetings on some other community members not being in favor of changing the logo. That's the angle that I'm coming from. It's still a bit ambiguous. I think bringing it back at a later meeting is not the worst idea, so that we're not just trying to push a vote through.
Yeah. Please. Because we're out in deep water.
I would like to suggest that we rescind the last vote, that we bring it back at a subsequent meeting, but that we bring it back as its own agenda item so that it's not buried just under the ad hoc item, that it provides the community all the ample opportunity to understand what it is, to have the attached materials and to participate, and that we have that as an action item so that we can make a decision once and for all what we're going to do and then move on from there. Because I think what's happened is it's been in this ad hoc item. section. So it's sort of been like not being given the time and kicked down. So I'd like to
I agree.
suggest that we do that.
Okay. And I heard that there was a request for further public comment. So we'll do that and then we'll make the motion.
I want to apologize. I simply hadn't seen it, and that was where my concern came from. So it was very much just a pure procedural question that I was raising. I think your plan to move forward is perfect, and I appreciate the effort that's gone into it tonight. And in general, to abstract from this tonight, if you're going to take public comment after ad hoc, if you're going to do motions within an ad hoc list, it's probably best to break and get public comment, because that keeps us all engaged. And so I know we're all trying to do this together, so I appreciate the neighborhood feel to this, but I think we're on the right track. By the way, I'm thrilled with the actual decision made tonight. I love the current logo. I didn't see any reason to go through the process of changing it now that I've actually seen the one that you guys just had redone. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Do we?
Through the chair, there's another public comment online.
Okay, thank you.
Mario here. Thank you so much for that wise decision. Thank you to MAC member Wenders for the awesome suggestion and making this an item alone. I think that's going to allow at least the opportunity for the community to engage and participate more. Hopefully, there's an actual intentionality in terms of getting people involved prior to the meeting. There's notice. I mean, at least speaking for myself, I would love to engage more in this process, because I have been critical of this whole process, and so like a fiasco situation. So yeah, I feel that was it's. Thank you for owning that and publicly just willing to be open to just be transparent about this whole process, and hopefully the logo gets used and people can actually have the opportunity to have an opinion about it, instead of just tossing it on and not somewhere and then not sharing it. That's part of being transparent and honest and being responsible with public funds. So thank you.
Thank you. Would you like to make the motion? That's okay.
I guess I need to do that, huh? Okay, so I would like to make a motion that we rescind the last vote and that we move this item to its own item in the next MAC agenda meeting. So that would be the May meeting.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. All right. Item 10, budget requests for the Springs promotional hats. So this item, we had promotional, so we had a member who left a couple of years ago, Ray, and he made hats for us upon his departure. And we've used them at outreach events, kind of the only thing that identifies us really. And there was a suggestion that we make more because we have new members and making sure that everyone had one. So we did a couple of possible designs, and we have a budget request for 250 something to be able to make sure that we make additional hats. So that's where we're at. And then I think you were showing the images there. Please, thank you.
Yeah, sure. So, for anyone who's familiar with design, you'll notice the spacing between Springs and Mac is quite large. That's due to my formatting. That will be corrected. But the idea here was to stick with the, so this would be white text on a black cap for visibility, and I've purposely chosen 3 different typefaces that reflect easy legibility and also fit with the aesthetic and history of the area. Feel that the one on the top left, the Futura, is the same typeface that Boys Food Center uses. So it feels like uniform with the area, whereas the other 2 are more based on the kind of feel of the Springs area previously being a resort from the 1920s through I think the 40s, just before like things started to quieten down. So the reason for bringing these is if anyone has any strong opinions on any particular option, we could use that as the design, or if anyone has any additional comments on what I have here, then I'm open to that. I'm married to a graphic designer. I am not a graphic designer.
Any comments from council?
I personally like option 1.
Any other ideas?
I'm good with all the fonts. I think that they show up nice on a hat, and because you can't have things too busy on a hat or it just turns into a big blob. So I think all of them are very clear. I'm good with all of them.
Yeah, I agree. Any other comments? Any public comment?
I have one more question.
Yeah.
So if there be made like different versions of fonts, or does it have to choose just one? I guess
That's a good question. For the purposes of this, it would be one design for all, as it would have to be the same design for each hat ordered. Otherwise, it would be split into multiple orders, and that gets very expensive very fast. And most places don't like to do that.
Yeah, I think we have to do a minimum of 12, I think is the way we've been getting the quotes.
Yeah, that's correct. And couple of the quotes that we've got, one is a little bit further afield, and the other option is a company based in Santa Rosa, which I think is the closest embroidery place to here, at least that could be found.
I guess hear public comment before.
Any public comment on the possible design of the hat?
Through the chair, no public comment online.
All righty. Okay. I'm not, any of them are fine.
Which one do you like, Jack? I'll go with whatever you.
Since your wife designed them.
Actually, I did this myself. I'm very
Oh,
proud.
okay. Sorry.
No, if I had to pick, just because it's a direct match, I would definitely go with option 1 because Boys Food Center and Future is classic. That's just my opinion, though.
All right. Is there a motion?
I make a motion to approve option 1.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All righty.
And then
Option
we
1.
need to
And then we
talk
need
about
to.
the
Oh, okay. Thank you.
budget form.
Okay, the budget form. That's up. Is there, so just to be clear, we had 5 votes in favor and 1 abstention on the last vote on budget 10 or item 10. And item 11 is the budget request.
I have a question. Does this still have to, it goes directly from supervisor's office to
That's what I'm
purchase?
curious about. We don't have, I didn't find a partnering agency, so
In this case specifically, we can just purchase it directly. I think this was done once before with the Map Your Neighborhood booklets. We do really like you to have a partnering agency, especially for community projects, but in this case, we can just buy it directly.
Thank you. And the estimated amount was based on a previous quote that I got from another organization, but then Jack found a far less expensive option locally. So isn't it? Oh, I thought it was 165. I just looked at the 165. Never mind. It's not that far.
Ah,
cheaper.
it does keep money within Sonoma County.
It's
That was
$4
the impetus.
34
Yeah, we make a saving.
Yeah.
Barely.
The tank of gas it's going to take to go pick it up. Okay. So, is there a motion to approve the budget?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any against? Any abstentions? Okey doke, motion passes. Okay, budget update.
That will be me, and I'm going to display here on the screen for you guys to be able to see sort of what you guys have left over for the remainder of the fiscal year, which is, I believe, in June. Give me 1 second. So at the bottom, you can see you guys still have 7,447 with 50 cents left over, but that is split between the ongoing expenses, and that's an amount of 5,361 with 65 cents and 2,085 with 85 cents for available community projects.
And when do we have to encumber that by?
By the end of June.
So we have 2 meetings.
Correct.
Okay.
Oh, and through the chair, and sorry, we didn't go over this. As far as the budget request process, I forget what I decided with Karina, but I think it was April or May. So if you can't do a budget request in June if they have to be spent by the 30th. So April, ideally at the next meeting.
May.
If there's something emergency, we could consider it in May.
Okay. Well, whatever is, did we do, is there a Dia de los Niños this year? Or is there an event like that?
They're having one on June 8th, but there's been no official request on behalf of Quetzalén. I think, I don't know if Zara can follow up with Victor. I know he had some communication with Karina, but there's been no, last time that they came, they spoke more about the program, but they never really did a formal request.
Okay.
Yeah, and
we have the color run is the other one that's out there.
yeah, and
Okay.
so if I personally cannot make it to that event on June 8th this year. So I don't know if they would have to get the money and get the toys themselves instead of myself going to purchase the toys. So thank you, Sarah, for checking in with Victor. Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Just a point about the budget. So the timing of the race, the run, means we really need to have the budget at the next meeting to approve.
It'll be, and I think it already was sent, so it'll be on next meeting agenda. We'll present it then.
But yeah, that would be the meeting we would approve because I know the budget office generally frowns on last minute budget stuff. And they start like shutting down purchase orders or whatever that the county does.
Okay.
Yeah, and in this case, well, with Supervisor Gorn's office, where it comes from. And so it would be with the money to the partnering nonprofit, it would depending on, looks like the DJ is one of the, potentially one of the expenditures. DJ or for the color run.
For the color run, yeah.
Okay,
Perfect, that-
so we'll
okay.
get the budget request in May and any other ones that might be out there. So thank you for the flexibility. We appreciate it. Okay, anything else you want to share with us? And
No, that's
Okay.
it. Thank you.
any other comments from council? Any public comment on the budget?
Yeah, to touch on the color run, I'll be meeting with Councilmember Norman so we can put a realistic budget out there. Yeah, the DJ booth would be one of them in collaboration with Tri-Tip Trolley. They're volunteering to be there, so we won't have to pay for their services. Of course, the food will be out for sale for our runners and whoever else wants to participate in this event. But really it'll just be, the DJ, maybe some white t-shirts and the color powder itself. So it's really an affordable event to put together. So, thank you.
Thank you so much for that.
I actually have one last
Oh,
question.
Yeah, sorry, through the chair, because since the staff transition, is the color run a budget request that has already been approved by council and
It just came forward last month.
Okay, so then
Those-
keep that in mind when you're talking about Quetzalon and the remainder of the money. Just throwing that out
Yes.
there.
Yes, we don't have a lot.
Just one of my general questions is, I know that the supervisor is out in December. How no, not yet, but so like with the new fiscal year starting July 1st, how I guess we can talk about in June, maybe in the June agenda to talk about how that's gonna look like in the transition to new supervisor. No problem. 6 months. I was
Don't-
almost thinking that.
Don't do that.
Just
Don't do
kidding.
that. But
I'm just kidding. Okay.
Will be.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, no further questions or comment on the budget? Okay, future agenda items, just so you have an idea of what's happening. May 8th, we have Sonoma Splash. We believe we have a Caltrans app update. These are the things in the works. Public infrastructure on the crosswalks. Our ad hoc updates. For the 12th, we were looking at possibly doing an affordable housing presentation from Sonoma Valley Housing Group, HUD, and Permit Sonoma. Not sure about all of that yet. These are all in the works.
And I sent one in.
And you sent one in.
So May is Wildfire Preparedness Month. And the Springs, along with Cloverdale, were two selected areas that the Firewise group has well, they secured a grant through CAL FIRE. It hasn't been funded by the state yet. The person who's coordinating these projects talked about doing a presentation at our next meeting. And the reason why is the project will provide 100 homes, free labor and removal of vegetation that's within 5 feet of homes. So this is a very important project. Again, there's no start date yet because then there's still, the state's going through its budget process. But it would be for residents who live, I say east of 12 or on the hillside of 12 in the Springs area.
Okay. Depending on, can it happen on the, does it have to happen in May? Can it happen on the June agenda? Or is there, they don't have a timeline?
It was a conversation that I met this person at a community fair. Monica?
It's Roberta from Fire Safe Sonoma.
Okay. When I check in with Zyra on the May agenda, we'll see who's confirmed, and if we can fit it there, we will. If not, we'll put it in June.
And then
Sounds like a great thing.
And then we had several community members requesting an update on the Larson Park renovation and specifically the timeline of phase 1 and then phase 2 of the renovation construction. I don't think it needs to happen in May because it sounds like May's pretty packed, but if it could happen in June.
Yep.
Since construction, we're all sort of expecting over summer, maybe June would be a good time for that to happen.
And the other thing that I heard quite loud and clear tonight was about the cleanup of the plaza or some kind of attention to the plaza space.
I was
Yes.
gonna propose plaza, sorry, Jack, cleanup to be added to the agenda as well.
Zyra, are you getting all these? Okay, thank you. Jack?
I think the thing with the plaza, like 22 Boys Boulevard and surrounding area, is also like what could be done, like strictly speaking, because I don't know if the post office building is a historical like listed building, but I have a feeling that it came up on some list, and if you were to alter the exterior, that's not like, it's not straightforward or easy, so making any alterations are difficult. So having some clarity on what is even possible in its current state would be helpful. Again, this is, I don't know if this is definitely the case that it is protected, but I've heard stuff around town.
Yeah. Maybe Zyra, when you and I talk, we can talk about who's appropriate, and Supervisor Gorin might be able to help us decide who should be here for that. Anything else?
Yeah, I was just thinking, instead of just plaza cleanup, maybe just do like a plaza, maybe receive
information.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like to talk about all the different things under that, very similar to the
Yes.
logo situation.
That's kind of what I was thinking, some kind of what can be done, what, and the right departments here to help us with that. Okay, so that's one, two, three new items that we'll have to figure out how to weave in. Okay. All right. I think we have
Public comment.
Pardon me? Public comment, sorry. Public comment on new agenda items. Thank you. Anyone online? I just need a big public comment like sticker right here.
Nobody online.
Yeah. Like my CBO's no button. All right, no public comment, seeing none. Thank you. Okay. Item 13, adjournment. Is there a motion? Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All righty, aye. Thank you. Thanks everyone for being here.